It's been, let's call it, an eventful 2 weeks for the Cleveland Cavaliers, who bowed out to the Warriors in 5 games in the NBA Finals. Shortly after that, we learned that LeBron James has a new haircut, and that kind of rocked the world. People are fascinated by LeBron's hair, as you know. The team announced general manager David Griffin will be leaving the franchise by mutual agreement, they say, and that sent the team scrambling because Griffin was in the process of putting together possible trades for Jimmy Butler and or Paul George at the time he walked away from the job. For a little perspective on all that, let's bring in Jason Lloyd from The Athletic Cleveland, who was not burdened with reporting on the Cavaliers draft picks because they had none. The team does have issues to deal with, though, Jason, starting, I guess, with who will be running the basketball operations. By all accounts, the GM job is Chauncey Billups for the taking. Where do things stand right now?
I reported a couple of days ago that Chauncey was given a 5-year offer to head up the front office in a president, vice president type role. There's been some others that come out and said, no, there's been no formal offer made, but I'm standing by it. It's a matter of semantics with the Cavs. They've tried this before. Everyone, both sides know the parameters of the deal. The job's Chauncey's if he wants it. It's a 5-year offer, and it's really up to him now to decide. I think, Sam Amick from USA Today followed up my report and said that Chauncey's concerns right now are, number one, the status of LeBron James after next year, and number two, he and Ty Lue are really close friends. And I think just is he going to be able to be objective in that role and be able to look at the job Ty does and evaluate that job objectively when they are so close. So there's just some things he's considering. I don't think it's a done deal by any means, but I think the Cavs would love to have him if he decides that this is the route he wants to go.
Jason, Sam Mitchell here. When you look at the Cleveland Cavaliers, the new GM got to have his eyes on two things: trying to put together a championship team with LeBron James there and possibly his last year, but also trying to build for the future. This team has been depleted of all its draft picks. Whoever comes in, that's a tall order. Are the Cleveland Cavaliers that attractive of a job right now when you're considering all the rumors that LeBron may be leaving after next year, and then you gutted your future because you don't have any picks?
Yeah, no, that's a great point, and I've written that a couple of times lately. David Griffin built the Cavs into a champion, but it took him 7 first-round picks to do it. Griff traded 7 first-round picks the last 3 years. He had a war chest of trade assets when he walked into that job. And the cupboards are pretty bare now, and that's why, the Kevin Love rumors surfaced again, because they don't have anything else to trade, other than a 2021 first-round pick. That's what they're down to. But I disagree with the point that you have to build for the future, because with the situation that LeBron's in now, you have to worry about winning now. And this thing, when he goes, it all goes. No, and whether it's next year or 4 years from now, whenever it goes, I've said this many times, this basketball will never be this level again in Cleveland. I fully believe that this is the golden era of basketball in Cleveland, and you have to embrace it, chase it, and worry about winning right now. And so, I don't know that you worry so much about building for the future, but you do have to try and close the gap on the Golden State Warriors and worry about winning now and winning next year. And that's difficult to do because of everything that we just talked about, the fact that their lack of trade assets has really left them in a bind. Now, was it worth it? Yeah, they won a championship. So, I'm not knocking the job that Griff did, but the point is there's not a whole lot left for them. There's not a lot of maneuvering to do when you're as far over the cap as they are, and you have nothing left to trade. It's really a tough spot. So is it a good job? It's a good job from the point of, at least for 1 year, you're going to be able to contend for a championship. You can win a championship. It's a tough job from the point of trying to improve this roster, particularly through trades.
Jason, Brent Haywood here. We saw the Cavs were trying to get Jimmy Butler, and one of the things that came out from that situation is that reportedly some of the Cavs players were saying, hey, you might not want to come to this situation. It's a volatile situation. Is that more smoke? Are those any truth to that rumor? And when they mean volatile situation, what do they mean? Are the guys not getting along like we think they are? Or is this a situation they're saying, hey, stay away because LeBron James and Kyrie Irving might not be there next year?
Well, Brennan, I think you can speak as well as anyone to that, to just know the culture within Cleveland. At times it can feel like a dysfunctional culture. I think everyone would say that if they could speak candidly and privately, from front office to coaches to business side, corporate side, would all say that it's dysfunctional at times. But, where players going to Jimmy and saying stay away, no one will ever know the answer to that unless you could inject 15 players with truth serum and sit them down. It's impossible to say, no, that's crazy because, I don't have contact with 15 guys this summer. and they probably wouldn't tell me even if they did. So that's a really difficult thing to be able to truthfully answer and be able to know, yeah, you know, this is the way it went. Is it possible? Sure. I think it's possible that I'm not saying who, I don't know who, but I'm sure that there may be a guy or two who was unhappy with the way things went, who may be close to Jimmy, who said, you want no part of this. Is it false? Yeah, it's very easy to say, no, that's silly, no one would ever do that. You would want Jimmy Butler on this team because he would give you a better chance to beat the Warriors and win a championship. So it's really difficult to say one way or the other. I wouldn't completely reject it out of hand because there are factors, there are ingredients, and there are examples of how this thing has been, how it's been difficult to thrive in this arena, if you will. You know, I've had opposing GMs come through and say, why is everybody so miserable? Why is there so much tension here? This is when it's supposed to be fun. This is when, you know, you guys are winning. This is when teams are supposed to celebrate and enjoy this part of it. It's the rebuilding that sucks. This is the part that you're supposed to enjoy. And there have been many times throughout the last few years, definitely before the championship and even after, where it's been very difficult for some of the people over there to enjoy their success.
As for remaking the roster now, if that's the goal, is Paul George now the target? Is that who they're after?
Well, yeah, I mean, certainly I think that they would love to be able to do that. You know, I think when you look at something like a Kevin Love for Paul George, to me, okay, fine, who's going to play the four? Because LeBron hasn't shown a willingness or an excitement to playing in the post for 82 games out of the year. And who's going to be your defensive rebounder? Because Kevin is far and away the best defensive rebounder on this team. And if you take him away from that, you know, Tristan Thompson's a great offensive rebounder, but Kevin has been their best defensive rebounder for a few years. So if that move were to come to fruition, and I think if that was going to happen, it probably would have happened by last night or before. But if that move between now and whenever, the start of the season, if that move gets made, the Cavs have other moves they have to make following that. They have to go out and find another big in free agency because I just don't know that you can play LeBron at power forward all year long and expect this team to be able to rebound and do some of the things that Kevin provides. I just think Kevin has been undervalued on this team for so long. You know, he just kind of gets dismissed and discarded as that third wheel of the big three, and I just think that he provides a lot more value than people realize. You know, when he was out, when he missed that month with the knee injury, in February, March, they really struggled on the boards, and that's just a small snippet of what I'm talking about. I think he has a lot of value that people don't see and you wouldn't realize until he was gone.
And they're smallish with him. Without him, they would be very, very small without a comparable big out there. Jason Lloyd with us from The Athletic, Cleveland. Thanks much.
Thanks.
All right, more coming up here on our draft review 2017 when we come back. Our Hall of Famer Isaiah Thomas talks to another promising guard with big expectations, Markelle Fultz.